Okay, this is going to be a quick tutorial video on how to use the Trading Journal template 2025 newest version. So the way that you can access this journaling template is by going to the Birdhouse Discord, and if you scroll down all the way to the basics section and then to the resource section, you will see right at the bottom the newest link that's been posted is the Notion Trading Journal template. If you click this link or click this link, it will take you directly to the site where you can view this journaling template. You will notice that you won't be able to actually mess with anything that's in this template if you try to click on anything. Obviously, you can't edit any of this stuff. What you have to do is you have to come up to these two dots, create a duplicate, and then it'll automatically go to your Notion account. That's where you can kind of tweak it a little bit, add your own banner, add your own icon, add your own title, whatever you want. This is simply just the template. So let me show you how this template works whenever you actually have it duplicated in your Notion. So you will be able to click on this icon, change it to whatever you want. Click on this banner by change cover. You can change it however, put it to wherever you want. It will probably be over here in your sidebar somewhere whenever you first duplicate it. So that's how you'll be able to find it and locate it in your Notion. But you can literally tweak anything that's in here once you duplicated it. It won't mess with the template at all. Template stays how it's going to be, and then this is your version that you have for yourself. So let me explain how you can use it to actually journal your trades. For example, let's say you took a trade, right? It doesn't matter what you're taking a trade on. This doesn't connect to any platform, so it doesn't have any sort of integration. You simply just journal it on your own. So basically how you would do that is the first tab here is for the date. So this is pretty straightforward. It'll highlight what the day's date is. Boom, you'll just click that. It'll automatically select the date for you. This is the trading title. So you can kind of trade or title your trades whatever you want, but let's say that I took a long contract on the NASDAQ NQ futures. I would do NQ long. That's simply how I title my trades. You can really do however you want to title them. But if you won your trade, you will click this box. This is the win checkbox. So if you win it, you will click it. And if you didn't win, you will leave it unclicked like this. This is very important because this is what actually triggers all of these different analytics down here, as it will calculate your win rate for each different analytic. And the only way it calculates that is if you've clicked this checkbox. So very important that you click the checkbox if you won. Again, if you lost your trade, don't click the checkbox. Second thing here is just a P&L box. This doesn't really mean a lot, but I like to signify with colors whether I won my trade, lost my trade, or I was break even. And it'll also pop up here on the trading calendar so you can kind of see more of a calendar version of your trade. So next is going to be the ticker. So the general tickers we have in here are the SPX 5000 index, MES1, which is ES contracts, micros, MNQ1, which is micro NASDAQ contracts, NQ1, which is just mini contracts or NQ futures, NAS100, which is the NASDAQ index. I'm pretty sure it's the CFD fund version. And then ES1 is obviously just S&P ES futures contracts, minis, that is. If I took an NQ long and not an MNQ long, I will be taking the NASDAQ because these are NQ futures. So that's how you will label the ticker. Next is your P&L box. P&L is very simple, however much you made. So let's say I made 500 on the trade. Boom, you'll put 500. If you lost on the trade, then obviously whenever you're typing it in, you'd put negative 500. So very straightforward there. Can't really mess it up. But if we won, we will say that I won 500. Next is the ticks. Ticks I find to be a little bit of unimportance, but I have it on there because some people like to track their trades by the amount of ticks that they catch or the amount of ticks that they lose. So this is literally just a number box. You can type any number into it for how many ticks you won. If you have a P&L box on TradingView, it will have a label at the top that will tell you how many ticks your take profit was. So let's say it was 50 ticks. Your entry time frame, also extremely straightforward. Just whatever time frame you entered your trade on. So most trades I enter are on the 1 minute. So that's pretty much what I will be labeling them as 1 minute trades. Risk to reward, very straightforward. If you use the P&L box on TradingView, it'll tell you your risk to reward right off the bat. Let's just say you took a 1 to 5 RR. Very simple, very basic trade. Model. This is where you can kind of plug and play with your own. If you have your own trading model, you can put it in here simply by typing it in right here. Let's say I use the poop and pee model, and you can click this little plus sign and it will add the poop and pee model to your selection. So if you're scrolling through here, these are all a lot of preset models. So we have just simple macros. We have final leg model. We have the breaker block reversal, the abs model, market maker buy and sell model, all of the different ones that we have set in here already. But if you add any of your own models, you can scroll down and you will find them in here somewhere. Where is the poop and pee model? If you can't find it whenever you're scrolling, you can always just type it into the top and it will find it automatically. Oh, it's right at the top. I am just blind. So yeah, you'll see in this drop down, if you click on your model, boom, poop and pee model will be right at the top. And if you scroll down to the analytics section and you find the models, which is entry models right here, you will see that it automatically gets added. See right here, automatically gets added to this database. So if you add anything down here, it'll automatically get added to this drop down, and then vice versa. Poop and pee model, you can see that it is a 100% win rate right now because we won the trade. We've only taken one trade. So yeah, so models you can kind of add, delete, whatever you want. It's completely up to you. Next is going to be the account that you took the trade on. As you can see, this box correlates directly to the analytics account section right here. Essentially, whatever, if you're trading on a prop firm, if you're trading on a funded account, anything of that nature, you can come down here and kind of name your account whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. It's completely up to you. So you can have multiple different accounts on this, and they will all pop up in this section right here. So let's say I add a new account that's called Poop NP. The only way to get the account to actually pop up in the dropdown is you have to add some sort of initial equity for it to appear. So, and that's essentially what the analytics account section is whatever account you have, you can name it whatever, and then initial equity will just be what the account starts at. So if you say you buy a $100,000 prop firm account, you will list it as $100,000 in your initial equity. And then if you come over here, you will see that your new account is in the drop down that you can select from. So let's say we took it on the Poop and Pee account. If we look down here, it actually updates on the analytics section. So you can see now that the current equity is $100,500. We have a 100% win rate on the account, and the total profit and loss is 500. The total amount of trades we've taken on the account is 1. And then I had this little section added where you can do the status to, maybe you have an open funded account, you can label it as open. Let's say you lost the funded account, close it, maybe passed it, you can do closed. And then if you pass the funded account, we have the little pass button here. Moving on to the next section, we are going to be looking at the markets drop down. So this is very straightforward. Forex or futures. NQ is futures contracts, so you would label it as a futures. The type of trade, this is where it gets a little bit fuzzy because people like to list their trades as different things. If you buy and sell a trade in the same day, I count that as a scalp. Day trading, I think of as holding a trade for a whole day, maybe into the next day, trying to catch basically the daily move. That's what I think of as the daily trade. And then swing trading would be holding it for a couple days, couple weeks, even maybe a couple months. That's how I see those different type of trades. So, but generally I take scalp trades because I trade them intraday. So the next drop down would be your bias. And basically what this section is what your bias was on your trade. So this is a little confusing because it can be, say you lost a trade and it was bullish and you went bearish, right? You might be like, oh, well, do I put in bullish because that was my bias, or do I put in bearish because that was the market's bias? In this box, you always want to put what your bias was. So let's say I took a long trade and it went long and I won it, bullish. Let's say I took a long trade and it went down and I lost a trade. I would still put bullish because that's what the bias was for my trading idea. The next drop down box is going to be the market condition. So was the market trending? Was the market consolidating? Was it retracing up to a level? Or was it maybe reversing up to a new direction? So all of these are basically the 4 different ways that the market can move. Retracing is kind of the same as trending or maybe even reversing, as it could be either. A lot of times retracements happen and you get stopped out, or that's what hits your take profit. So I like to keep it in there because it helps you kind of signify what your trade is a little bit more. So we'll just say trending for now. Keep in mind, you can add multiple things to these boxes. So let's say it was reversing and then I caught the trend. You can add both of those things. These boxes are not limited to one singular selection. Let's see, mistakes is the next drop down box. And this is where you can kind of start getting into learning and improving your trading overall, because With the mistakes box, we have a lot of preset dropdowns where maybe they're either mental mistakes, psychological mistakes, or just physical mistakes that you made in your trade that caused you to be incorrect. So maybe you were over trading, maybe you were trading on your emotions, or your stop loss was too tight. Maybe you had like an impulsive entry, you know, like you enter, you didn't really mean to, and you were just kind of just trading to trade. Maybe you exited your trade a little too late. Maybe you entered it too early. Like we have all the different ways that your trade could fail. We kind of have them drop down here. But of course, if you want to add any, always you can type it into this box at the top and you can add it for yourself. Let's say you had a really good trade and you don't think you made any mistakes. Feel free to leave this box open. You don't have to fill this box. If you took a good trade and you don't feel you made any mistakes, feel free to leave this box open. I'm going to say emotions just for the sake of filling the box. The next drop down is going to be weekly profile. This is a little bit difficult because you kind of need to know different weekly profiles to signify what you think the market is doing for that week. But the good thing about a lot of these is, let's say we had a low of week on Tuesday and you don't know what that looks like. If you actually click on this low of week on Tuesday selection, it will pull up a picture here of what a either high of Tuesday, low Thursday week looks like, or a Tuesday low of week looks like with these images inside of this page. So not all of them have pictures like this, but all of the images with the lines on the little paper emoji, that means that they have some sort of image showing you what that weekly profile is. And as always, if you maybe check a trade on a Monday and it's too early to tell what the weekly profile is, we have right here, an unknown too early to tell selection. And that's basically just for if you don't know what the market is doing yet, and maybe it's too early in the week to figure it out. The next box is going to be the kill zone. This one's very obvious. Basically, when did you take your trade? Was it AM session, PM session, New York, London, Asia? Like, that's basically what you fill in here. All my trades are AM of New York Open, so I put index AM session and New York Open. Day, very obvious. Today is Thursday, so I took it on a Thursday. The week number. So basically how I calculate the week number for when you take your trades is I like to pull up my calendar and I like to count the weeks by full weeks. So I would do that. This is week 1 because this is the first full week of the month. So week 1, 2, 3, and then this is week 4 technically because it always goes by 4 weeks and then a transition week. I mean, a transition week generally is like either the end of the week or the start of the week whenever the months kind of overlap the same week. But if you see July, both of these overlap the same. So this would be week 1 because this is the first full week in July. 1, 2, 3, and then I'll just count this as week 4 because the transition week was that first week in July. So transition 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you'll notice right when we get into August, we'll just start back at 1 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So sometimes you don't have transition weeks, but sometimes you do. This part really is not the most important. It's kind of just to figure out what weeks you trade the best during the month because different weeks and different months have different price delivery and different news data, all stuff like that. So this would be a week 4 for me. What month is it? Super straightforward. What year is it? Can't fuck this one up. And then now we get into the questions that are really going to start improving your trading. Boom. First question, psychology. What were you thinking while you were taking your trade? Were you confident? Were you overconfident? Were you were you neutral? Were you just feeling good, feeling very content? Maybe you were rushed. Maybe you were just like, you had a fear of missing out. You were having bad FOMO. I get FOMO a lot, so I am frequently using this FOMO one. But you can add psychology if you want to. But essentially, whatever emotions you're feeling, you're going to list them in the psychology tab. You can always click more than one, or, I mean, you always feel some sort of emotion, so there really should not be a scenario where this box is empty. But we're going to move on to this next one here, which is the mentality zones. This is where it gets really important. And I want to stress this to you guys because this is how you're really going to improve your trading, is going back and analyzing these different boxes because these are the most important. So you'll notice some of these boxes have a little I next to them because they have extra information that you need to be able to fill out these boxes. So first, mentality zones. There's 4 different mentality zones. There's anxiety, boredom, apathy, and flow. Anxiety is high challenge, low skill. Boredom is low challenge, high skill. Apathy, low challenge, low skill. And then flow is high challenge, high skill. Ideally, you want to be in flow for your best trades. You will notice that the better your trades, the more you will be in flow. Flow state is just kind of, I mean, everyone knows what flow state is. It's just you feel it, you got it. Like, you don't have to overthink your trades. There might be a high challenge in the market, but your skill is high, so you're able to run through it fluidly. Anxiety is kind of when the market's all over the place. It's got a lot of challenge going on, and you really don't know what you're doing, and you're kind of just grasping at straws. That's why it's called anxiety. Apathy is when you're really just, you're feeling out of it. You have no desire, you have no passion to be in the market because it's at such a low volatility. Maybe it's just consolidating, and your skill level is also at a low level to the point where you're kind of just lackadaisical with your trading and you're just kind of doing whatever. Like you're not really trying. And then boredom is on the similar plane as apathy, except that instead of having this low skill where you don't really know what's going on, so you're just kind of like not caring, you do know what's going on. You have a high level of skill, but the market is so boring. Maybe it's consolidating. Maybe it's not moving anywhere, that you just overly want to get into a trade. So you start taking just bad trades left and right because you know what you can do, but the market isn't providing the opportunity. So that's what you will fill in here. Well, let's just say, for example, I took a flow trade. So maybe I was in the flow state. I was having a good trade. High market challenge, high skill. It's very straightforward. You'll understand it very quickly. So the next part is going to be capability and market challenge. These two are going hand in hand because they are kind of a tandem journal here. So capability is pretty much how you feel internally in your ability to trade the market. Like, is your head all there? As you're thinking straight? Are you kind of in the flow state? Like, is your thinking right? Is your head right? You're not thinking about other things. You're not mentally draining yourself. You're not beating yourself down. What's your capability? The better you feel about yourself, the higher your capability will be. And you can see this is kind of a 1 to 10 rating. So you'll choose 1 to 10 out of all the drop downs. And then the second part is market challenge. Is like, do you feel like you're really aligned with the market? Do you feel like you know what's going on? Are you kind of in the flow with the market? Or is the market just doing stuff you've never seen? You don't know what's going on. It's maybe consolidating. It's not moving how you want it to. That's when the market challenge would be on the lower end. When your capability is higher, you'll be having better trades. When your capability is lower, you'll be having worse trades. The same goes with market challenge. And this is kind of just to get a feel. When your best trading is, what is your capability? Are you a better trader when your capability is higher? Are you a better trader when the market challenge is higher? Or are you a worse trader when the market challenge is higher? Maybe you're better trading easier markets. It's like you're trying to figure out what you are the best at so you can really define your edge as best as possible down to singular points. That's what the goal of this is. This next section is going to be the image of your trade. So this is formatted as an embedded link. Let's just say we're on TradingView here. Let's say I want to take a picture of this market, how it is right here. If you click the camera icon up in the top right, there's a copy link section. If you click copy link, you will get a link URL that you can use to upload to the embed link section here of your trade. All you do is Control V, maybe left click, copy paste, click link, and then you will have a file loaded up here. Keep in mind, you can add an endless amount of file links, but it is very important that you add it as a TradingView image link and not a JPEG image link or anything like that, like not just an uploaded image, because if you do, it will upload as a very small image and you won't be able to view your trade basically. It will upload as this little image like this. It will upload as a little square that you can kind of view, but it's very blurry. It doesn't look that good. But let's say that you uploaded it as this file link. If you click on the link, it'll open it up in a new tab and you'll be able to see the entire image. So that's why it's important that you upload it as a image link. The next section is going to be the notes section. So this is important because this is kind of where you can kind of go at it. You can be yourself. You can freely talk to yourself, freely journal, everything that happened in your trade. So there's a good little like guideline here. If you look at this little information section, basically some questions you can ask yourself just to make it a little bit easier if you don't know what to write down. What did you expect to happen? What actually happened? How did you feel before, during, and after your trade? One thing you're proud of, one thing you learned, and one thing you can improve next time. All just very general questions to keep you on a steady path to improving your trading. This is an open box. You can type words, numbers, whatever. Basically, just kind of go at it in this section because this is where you will be truly talking to yourself. So the next section here is going to be the trade assessment section. And if you see here, there's another information icon because it has some more guidelines for you to follow. So it's going to be a 4-question assessment that you will answer and then rate 1 to 10. And then you can see at the bottom here, we have different scores for your trade, and anything above 32 plus is probably an excellent trade. 28 through 31 is a good trade. And then below 28 needs improvement. First question is going to be, did you enter at your predetermined level? So that's basically asking, let's say you're going to enter as soon as it touched this like fair value gap range right here. Did you enter before because you were afraid it weren't going to hit it? Or were you patient and you waited for it to tap your entry before you got in the trade? And you're basically going to answer the question and then rate it 1 out of 10. So let's say I'll do a number 1 because I like to answer them, by numbered bullet points. So the question is, did you enter at your predetermined level? Let's say I didn't enter at my predetermined level, but I just entered a little bit under it because I was nervous it wouldn't hit my entry level. So I'd say entered a little under fair value gap, entry level. And then I'd rate myself probably, you know, like a 6 out of 10 because it wasn't what I was exactly waiting for, but it was still fairly close and the idea was there. And you move on to the second question. What is it? Was your stop placed exactly as planned? Another simple question. Let's say you have a trade, you have a set take profit and a set stop loss. Did you move your stop loss at all whenever you were either before you took the trade or during the trade? If you kept it at the same spot where you had planned initially, give yourself a 10. You did exactly as you're supposed to. But if you're moving it around because you're nervous, then you're going to lower your grade. Question 3, did you follow your trade management rules? Did you move to break even when you told yourself you're going to? Did you de-risk when you said you were going to? Did you take profit when you said you were going to? You will write all of these things down and then you will grade yourself 1 out of 10. Did you close the trade according to plan? This is a very simple question. Did you allow the trade to go all the way to your take profit or did you allow the trade to play all the way to your stop loss? Those are the only 2 questions you should be asking yourself when it comes to question 4. And this is the simple 0 or 10, if I'm being honest. If you allowed the trade to play to either your take profit or your stop loss, give yourself a 10. If you closed your trade early because you were nervous or you had some sort of mental conviction inside of your trade, I would give yourself a 0. You didn't allow your trade to play as it planned out. The next section is going to be 2 lessons to teach someone else. So I think that teaching is the best learning. A real good way to continue improving your trading and learning from your mistakes and turning them into lessons is writing 2 lessons from your trade, even if you won, that you can teach someone else who might be reading this journal. So just think of, and this is going to require you to really think deep. Maybe it's something psychological, maybe it's something physical in the market, but 2 things that you can teach someone else. And then the final section is going to be if you lost. So there's another information section here. And keep in mind, if you win your trade, you don't need to fill this out. But if you lose your trade, it's going to ask a series of questions that really dig deep into why you lost the trade. What triggered this loss? What did I override that I usually follow? What my discipline self has done? What's one small adjustment I can apply immediately? These are 4 simple questions that will significantly improve your trading over time. If you can learn why you lost, what you ignored that caused you to lose, and then start asking yourself, what would the disciplined version of me have done in that scenario? And then learning one thing that you can do that can start taking steps towards the right thing to do. Just keep stacking wins like that over time and you'll become a significantly better trader. It's all about little wins that add up over time. But that's the entire journal. Once you've completed all those things, you are done journaling your trade. And this moves on to kind of the more fun section of it where you can start scrolling down to all of these analytics sections and you'll be able to learn and see what your win rates are for different trading models, trading times, tickers, days, weeks, months, models. I already said models. You know what I'm trying to say. You can start learning your win rates with your scalps, with your time frames of entries. Every single one of these sections will have a win rate on it. And over time, you will see what you are the best at, what you have a high win rate at, and what you have a low win rate at. So maybe I have like a 20% win rate on Tuesday in March. I'll start thinking to myself, okay, when it starts rolling around on Tuesdays, I'm going to be a lot more reserved with my trading. I don't want to take as many trades on Tuesdays because I know that I'm not as good of a trader on a Tuesday. You just have to learn your statistical edge based off of all the analysis you're receiving from the journal. There's really not much else to it. You kind of just have to go in here, play around with it yourself and kind of figure it out, learn it, tailor it to your own needs. And then this will really just help you improve over time. It'll journal a lot of your mistakes. You'll start learning your mistakes and then you can actually learn how to improve them by really digging deep and thinking with inside yourself, how can I improve these things? The final part I'll show you is simply just the day trade P&L calendar. So this will show you all the trades you took in a day, your P&L, the ticks, and if you won or lost. So that's what the calendar is for. It's kind of just a visual preference that I added on there because a lot of people like to see their weekly, daily, monthly P&L in sort of a calendar version. Similar to that of like Top Step X. So that is all I have for this video. I hope this was helpful with learning how to use this trading journal template that I have created. If you have any sort of questions, please drop them in the comments. I will try to get back to as many comments as I can. Drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the charts.